And unfortunately, this weekend, actually, and Sunday going in today, he was tweeting one of the most racist things. Excuse me, let me take that back. The most racist thing that an elected official in my memory, in my lifetime, ever said.
Wow.
Okay? He writes, "It is so interesting to see progressive Democrat congresswomen who originally came from countries whose governments are a complete and total catastrophe, the worst, most corrupt and inept anywhere in the world, now loudly and viciously telling the people of the United States, the greatest and most powerful nation on earth, how our government is to be run. Why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places where they come from, then come back, there's nothing funny about it, then come back and show us how it's done. These places need your help badly." Now, when you are telling somebody of color to go back to where they come from, a minority, a person who, first of all, 3 of those 4 were born in America. There's nowhere for them to go.
Wow.
Right,
okay?
exactly.
And 1 was a refugee from Somalia.
Right.
Wow.
All right? And it drew a searing condemnation from the Democrats. There was silence from the Republicans.
Of course.
But right before we went on the air, there were some Republicans who were coming out and saying Trump is a racist and he should take it back.
Wow.
And now you're starting to hear it from Republicans. Susan Collins from Maine came out around
Always
4
a
o'clock.
mainstay.
Okay, Jeff Flake, former senator from Tennessee, said Trump's a racist. And what's his name? Graham.
Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey Graham didn't say he was a racist, but basically said, I would never have said such a thing in my entire life.
Wow.
Now, Nancy Pelosi came out and said the only thing Trump doesn't want to make America great again. Trump wants to make America white again.
Yes.
She's absolutely right.
Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, came out and said, agreeing with Pelosi, said that Trump can't conceive of an America that includes us. The issue is this is a lot of politics, and Trump is playing the racial card. He always played the racial card. He may have gone over the top this time, too far.
Yeah, because there's so many things that Trump has done. We especially lately, we just kind of been laughing it off. But this has gone too far.
But how is this worse than saying that there are good people on both sides of a KKK rally? How is this different?
Well, it's different because you actually singled out 4 congresswomen who are women, who are women of color, and 3 of them born in America. And you're saying to them, I don't like your policies.
Right.
So instead of debating on the policies, and you may have a debate on the policies. I don't like health care for everybody.
Wow.
I don't like, free education for people.
Which is
I like to give rich people tax cuts and hopefully they'll spend money and it'll trickle down.
Right.
That's the Republican economic theory.
Absolutely.
And you can argue that all day long.
Right.
Okay? But when you're telling somebody who is of another color, who was born in America, to go back to where they came from, they came from Detroit or New York, or where'd they come from? Okay? So it's the racial trope that because you don't look like me, you don't belong here in America.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
And as a result, and it's again what Nancy Pelosi said, it's make America white again.
Absolutely.
Instead of make America great again, which is we are the reason why. Why do you think the reason that American culture around the world, everybody wants to mimic American culture? It's because we are a conglomerate of everybody.
Absolutely.
Okay. If we were just a bunch of white people from nobody would want to try to mimic American culture. If
it was all white, immigrants especially, would not be saying my American dream is. That's like saying my white dream is.
Exactly.
This reminds me. This goes back in the day when. Civil rights movement and all that was happening, and they would tell the African Americans who were here from slavery. Their ancestors were here from slavery, and they were telling them, go back to where you came from. When you had no place,
There's no
you
place to
never
go.
knew where you came from.
That's
you know?
right.
So that's how ignorant this is. It's going right back to that era.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't agree with everything AOC says.
No,
Okay, but
me
I'm not
neither.
telling her. I think she was born in the Bronx.
She was born in the Bronx. She
Okay,
was
it's my
absolutely
recollection
born
that she was born in the
she
Bronx.
was.
All right, there's nowhere for her to go.
Yeah.
She
Right.
was born in
Right.
America.
Yeah.
She's as American as me.
Yeah. She
She's
grew up in Westchester.
Okay, she's as American as
Yeah.
me. All right, so to tell somebody to go back to where they came from because they're of a different color or a different nationality or a minority is absolutely racist.
Absolutely.
Okay, because he would not. Other people, okay? He doesn't say, for example, to Nancy Pelosi, who he's been having fights with,
Yeah.
okay? Nancy, you go back to where you came from.
Right.
Exactly.
He doesn't say it to her,
Yeah.
right? He doesn't say to Joe Biden, hey, Joe Biden, why don't you go back to where you
This is
came
very
from?
true. This is very true.
All right? Think about all the white people.
Right.
Think about all the white people who he has a disagreement with.
That he doesn't say that to.
He doesn't say
That's
that
how
to
you
her.
know deep down
Right.
that there's hate in that. You know,
Right.
there's
Right.
hate for
Right.
the person for their color.
Right, and by the way, Lisa Bling saying it's shrewd. It is shrewd from a political point of view. Okay,
Yeah.
because from a political point of view, Trump only wins by dividing and
Yes.
making white people
Yes.
scared.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, making white people scared that Yonathan, you want to say it's their privilege will be taken away.
Right.
Or whatever it is, or maybe even Belgium, Kim, you've said that too.
Absolutely.
Whatever it is that white people are scared of. Okay, I don't know. I don't know what I'm scared of. Okay, I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, what would I be scared of? Okay, but whatever it is that other people may be scared of, that's what he's doing.
Absolutely. And I think that for me, the most reprehensible part of this is not that, unfortunately, we have a racist commander-in-chief. We know, we have talked about it every single day. What I cannot get over and what disgusts me more and more every single day is the Republican leadership that is standing by, either silent or barely saying anything.
And by the way, it goes back even Lisa Bling Rose. Very, very, very smart things Lisa Bling Rose is saying. I didn't even think about it, but yes, he even said Obama should go back to Kenya. He's been
Right.
doing this for a while. I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right, with his
Absolutely.
birther thing.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
and
He's hitting below the belt because this
Yeah.
is personal now.
Yeah.
You know, especially so when he's talking about that, I think he's especially mainly talking about the Somalian lady as well because you know, and then he said if they even have a government, a functioning government, they should go back
you know
and
what?
fix their stuff.
You know what? It doesn't make you less American because you don't like the way the country is being governed.
No.
Okay,
makes
it
you
doesn't
more
make
American.
you less American to say, you know what, I think this policy is wrong. I would do a different policy. That doesn't make you less
No.
American.
No, that's what this country was
Okay,
founded
and,
on.
and I go back to my first point, which is he can have a debate with everybody, but it's only 4 women of color that should go back to the country they came from. When they were born in,
Right.
3 or 4 were already born in America.
Right.
Okay, because none of the white politicians should go back to where they came from.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
The raid that everybody
Yes.
was terrified about.
Right.
Yeah.
The raid that I got about 20 messages on Instagram on Sunday morning. The raid that was freaking people out. People didn't go to work. And about 20 people texted me on Instagram. You know, if you're part of the Brad Squad and I know who you are, I'll respond to you on Instagram. And they're like, should I be scared? Should I be scared? I'm processing my case now. I have a green card. Should I be scared? Should I be scared for my relatives? And I said 2 things to them, and what different things to different people. But the point that I said to everybody, and the point that I said before we went off the air, was A, the government can't do it.
Right.
Because if they were able to do it, it would have already been done.
Right.
Okay. Number 2, they're only going after people who already have orders of deportation. They have been doing that for 20 years.
Right.
Okay? And number 3, there's not enough jails and planes to deport everybody.
Right.
Judges, I said it's not going to happen. I said at the most, if you remember, I said the most they'll go arrest 1,000 people and say it was a success.
Right.
And they didn't even get that far.
No, they did not.
Because Donald Trump announced it for 2 weeks. So everybody that they were going after wasn't where they were supposed to be.
Of
Right.
course,
Okay.
you're going to stay inside your house.
Yeah, right, yeah. Oh, yeah, let me stay right here. He knows exactly where it worked.
Right.
All right, so people were scared and they left and it was a complete disaster. And it reminds me of the time when Trump was running for president, or right before he ran for president, Obama was fighting ISIS in Iraq. And Obama announced that the U.S. government is going to go into Fallujah and start to fight ISIS and take back Iraq. And Trump says, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. If I'm the commander-in-chief and I'm going to go and fight somebody,
Yes.
I'm not going to announce it ahead of time so that they could be prepared. I'm going to just go and surprise them.
Right.
And meanwhile, what did he do? He did the same thing.
Of course.
Because
Right.
it was not, because he knew nobody was going to get arrested. He does it to scare the shit out of people.
So, okay, so I know that there were a lot of messages out there saying, anybody here in New York, they were saying at the 1, 2, and 3 trains that ICE was out there asking people for IDs.
Okay.
And I have a lot
All
of
right,
friends
so-
that just got their green card. Now they're scared. They're carrying their green card.
So this is what you do.
Yeah.
If you're on the 1, 2, or 3 train, whether you are a citizen, whether you have a green card, whether you have nothing, and an ICE officer comes over and says, "Let me see your ID," they have no right to do it because you're black, brown, yellow, white. They don't have a right to do it to me. They don't have a right to do it to Yonathan. They don't have a right to do it to Belgium Kim unless they have some reason other than the color of your skin or the way you're sitting or the way you're looking that you are an out of status human being. And what does an out of status human being look like? You have no idea.
Right.
Okay? So they have no right to do it, and I would just walk right by them.
Okay, good. Because
Walk-
I
would
need you to let them know
ignore
that.
them.
Yeah.
My advice is ignore them and walk right by them. Okay, let them tackle you and arrest you, and then call me.
Okay.
Okay, let
Then
them
you
do that.
really got a case.
Let them do that.
Yeah, you do, yeah.
All right. Trump today is changing the asylum laws. It's just like a disaster what's going on,
Sheesh.
what we
Yeah.
came back to. All right. So now the United States, which is supposed to be the country of freedom, the beacon of hope, give us your tired and your wretched and your poor.
Right.
Okay, now says that if you traveled into a third country before reaching the shores of America,
Right.
you are no longer eligible for asylum. So if you are from Central America and you walked across to Guatemala or Mexico because you did not apply for asylum in Guatemala
gosh.
and then apply for asylum in Mexico, you are barred from applying for asylum in the United
my
States of
God.
America.
God.
There is nothing, or if you are from Africa, okay, and you somehow make it out of Africa to, I don't know, Gibraltar, I'm making it up.
Right.
And from Gibraltar, you make it to America. Because you didn't apply for asylum in Gibraltar, you're getting turned around.
So how about these people like refugees? So like how my family came from Ethiopia, they were refugees in Sudan. They had literally had to escape Ethiopia at nighttime
Well,
because
those are
of
two
a
different.
war.
Those are two different things. Being a refugee and applying for asylum are two different things. So when you are a refugee, you are a stateless person, and you're applying for refugee status at a U.S. embassy in another country. Okay, perhaps that's what your family did.
Right.
Okay, they're not applying for asylum at that embassy. They're applying for refugee status.
Got you.
To apply for asylum, you got to make it to the shores of America.
Right.
Those are two different concepts.
Well, I'm
Okay,
saying if they were
right.
refugees in Sudan and then they made it to America to
Well,
apply for asylum.
If they were refugees and they didn't apply for refugee status at the embassy, and then they were refugees in Sudan, and then they made it to a neighboring country to get out, to get an airplane out,
Right.
then they wouldn't get asylum.
That's what I
Right.
mean.
They wouldn't get under. Now that is absolutely illegal. It's unconstitutional.
Right.
It's against every convention and treaty the United States has been part of. It is against the Constitution of the United States of America. It is against every regulation and law Congress has made.
Wow.
And Donald Trump just can't make
Wow.
an executive decision to overrule 150 years of asylum law.
That is insane.
Okay. So
That man is
I am
definitely making
so
his
I,
mark in
so
this
I am
industry.
sure, I am sure of it, that either the ACLU or some other immigrant rights groups will be bringing lawsuits against Donald Trump and his administration within hours, days, a week to put an injunction to stop it. It's another case that'll go all the way up to the Supreme Court and back. So as of right now, I assume that's going to happen. Asylum law is going to stay the same for years until it makes it to the Supreme Court.
Hey, it's crazy. insane.
And I
Meanwhile-
can't imagine the Supreme Court's going to uphold
It just goes on and on and on. You're like
So
in a
it's
deep
gonna go
sweat from this
forever.
pumpkin.
Yeah.
You're in a deep sweat from this pumpkin. He's not even a pumpkin anymore because you want to know why? A pumpkin is like nice and sweet. It's
Right.
Halloween. I can't even call this guy a pumpkin anymore. It's like devil.
You know, I really want to hear
Right.
what Melania has to say about
She
all
has
this.
she
Like,
has
why does
nothing. You want to know why? I mean, I'm now. This is just my suspicion. I have
Yeah.
no idea. And I have absolutely no facts to back this up whatsoever.
yes.
Because she's getting paid off a lot of money to keep quiet.
Yeah.
Because who else would be married to this
But
man
I
otherwise?
really want to know
Right?
like her true thoughts. And
You're
feelings
gonna
about this.
find out in a decade
I
from
was
now.
just
Yeah,
about
after
to
she
say.
You're
divorces
gonna
him.
find out.
She will definitely come out
you're
with the
gonna,
next
you're,
book.
gonna, you're gonna find out in a decade from
And
now
I
what
will
her
buy
true
that
thoughts
tell
are.
it all.
That's right.
I will get the audio book and I
What?
want to hear the pain. Yes.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump, he backed down from the census after the Supreme Court struck it down, said you can't ask whether or not you're a U.S. citizen. And as a matter of fact, Belgium, Kim, you said to me, you said to me you couldn't believe how many different ways they were asking.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to go tell it quickly?
Yeah, it was a U.S. citizen born in the United States. Were you naturalized? Were you a citizen born on a military base outside the United States? Were you born in a territory of the United States? Not just are you a citizen, it's how did you become a citizen?
Right, and to scare the hell out of everybody.
Absolutely.
The Supreme Court knocked it down, said there is no government reason to ask that question.
Right.
It is a racist question to get people who are minorities
Completely.
or people who are new American citizens or people who have green cards to not fill out the census, undercount minorities and
Right.
immigrants to the benefit of the Republican Party.
Right.
And Donald Trump, after the Supreme Court said, okay, well, we can't do it. And then conservative radio, Fox television, all came out and said, I can't believe, Trump, that you're going to back down. And then he came back out and said, I'm going to make an executive order.
We're doing this.
And we're going to do it. I don't care what the Supreme Court says. And then he had a big Rose Garden ceremony. And at the Rose Garden ceremony, he said, well, maybe I can't do it. I won't do it after all. So nobody's going to ask whether or not you are a U.S. citizen and not on the census. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross will be fired as a result of this.
Wow.
We shouldn't cry
So-
for him because he is a billionaire.
Right.
And based on what he looks like in that picture, he could use the rest.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Meanwhile, Belgium, Kim, 20 years ago on Saturday, what was Saturday's date?
July 13th.
July 13th, 1977.
Yeah.
There was a huge blackout
Huge.
in New York City.
Yeah.
Shut down all of New York City.
Yeah.
Crime was rampant that night.
Right.
People,
Really?
it was crazy
The
night.
literal purge.
Okay. 20 years to the day.
Yeah.
It was to the day.
Yes, 20 years to the day.
40.
The power went out again. Now, I was talking to Belgium Kim this morning. Power went out. I live in Midtown Manhattan. The power went out in my building.
It
I'm
did.
on the 23rd floor.
Oh my
Okay.
Terrifying.
Okay. And I was going to the movies. I just got out of the shower. I just washed the shampoo out of my
can't.
hair. The lights went out, and when the lights went out, there was no water. So I'm like, first of
Oh
all,
my God.
thank God I got the shampoo out of my
Right.
hair. Can you imagine?
Oh, no.
So then I was going to see, what was that stupid movie?
You were going to see Stuber.
And Belgium Kim says, I wouldn't pay $1 to see that movie.
I literally don't have to pay to go to the
Right,
movies. I wouldn't.
and I was looking forward to it because it looked stupid in the previews.
What would
And-
possess you to
because it
go
looks
see
it looks stupid and
Stuber?
funny in the previews. Jilly and I both laughed at the preview when we watched it, and Jilly said she'll go with me. And I was about to get in the elevator, because I mean I was out, I was rushing to get to the movie. So I mean, like when you rush out of the elevator, you're like, all right, boom,
Right.
just put on shorts, t-shirt.
Yeah.
I was literally racing to the elevator when walking out the door when the lights went out. And I got to the elevator. I heard people screaming in the elevator,
Oh
let me
my
out. And they were
God.
stuck in the
That.
elevator for like 3-4 hours. It was terrible. I sat. I wouldn't go down the 23 flights of stairs.
Right.
Because I was thinking about it. And then I said to myself, well, if the electricity doesn't come back on, then I got to climb up 23 flights of stairs
Right.
to sleep.
True.
So I decided to stay
Woo.
in the dark in my apartment. I finally fell asleep around 11:30 at night. And at about 11:40, 10 minutes later, the lights went on, the TV started blasting. And I jumped out of bed. I said, right after I fell asleep. So, because I left everything was still on.
Right.
So the thing that gets me is that Con Ed, which is the electric company,
Yeah, this is weird.
they say they don't know what happened.
They got no
Wow.
clue.
They have no idea what
Really?
happened.
I saw a thing at like 3 p.m. that they issued a statement today that said it was not due to over demand.
Yeah, they don't know what happened. So my conspiracy theory,
Ooh.
I believe
Yeah.
that it was the Russians.
Yeah.
Or a fat guy in his bed somewhere
Fair.
in Fiji Island.
Fair.
Or some sort of terrorist or something that was testing how quickly they could shut down the grid in New York City, and they did it very easily because they are not saying, the government is not saying how. I really believe
that's
it's
kinda
something
creepy.
I believe it is something very nefarious. I'm not even joking. I really believe that.
Okay, so that's a real premise in the last Die Hard movie. I'm really sorry I know this, but like it's called a fire sale, and the first thing you do is like you wipe out all of the electronics because then that basically puts everyone back to the Stone Age.
What's very strange is that I was speaking to
It's a
Bruce
thing.
Willis, who gave that idea.
I figured Bruce
He
told
called
ya.
me. He called me and told me that. Meanwhile, it was very cool what happened. You know how more than 72,000 customers. It was 30 blocks from Times Square. Was out of. Can you imagine Times Square? No lights in Times Square.
It must be crazy.
Yeah.
Like that must
Right.
be an insane.
So performers from Broadway shows such as Hadestown and Hamilton, and performers from Carnegie Hall, they went out onto the streets and started performing for free because they couldn't perform inside their theaters.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
We have videos of that. I mean, I thought it was really cool.
That's
saw it.
awesome.
Yeah, let's see if we have some video.
This is just outside Carnegie.
And there were performers from Hadestown and Hamilton. I don't know if we have other videos
Yeah,
as
we
well.
have Hadestown,
Let's
I
see
believe, as well.
Hadestown as well. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it looks like you're in New Orleans there for a
Yeah,
second,
seriously.
right? People took to Twitter. Some people had some funny things on Twitter to say about this. Keen Star said, New York City is blackout because the government turned off the power to relocate the aliens from Area 51 to Trump Tower. All right. Allison the 13th said, I love theater people too. New Tony category suggestion, best street performance. Now, one Twitter user theorized that the blackout was all a ploy to fight Trump's immigration raids.
Okay.
Gabrielle Fink said, shout out to Manhattan for giving itself a massive power outage to fight back the raids. I like that. I like
Yes,
that.
Queen.
Yeah. Meanwhile, California is the first state to offer benefits to adult undocumented immigrants. The
that's
measure
nice.
signed by Governor Gavin Newsom last week extends coverage to low-income undocumented adults aged 25 and younger to the state's Medicaid program. Now, when you offer Medicaid to undocumented aliens, basically what you're saying is, we don't want you to die in
Right.
America.
Right.
Okay, it's not like we're giving you the Cadillac of healthcare plans. Okay, where you can go and like have $20,000 worth of medical tests
Right.
to
Right.
make sure that you don't get a pimple on your face.
Right.
This isn't paying for your plastic surgery.
Exactly.
Right.
This is like we don't want people to die.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so when somebody says. It's all about how you phrase things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So when somebody says, do you think people who, and they call them
Mm-hmm.
people, illegal aliens, people who commit crimes because they're illegal in America,
Mm-hmm.
do you think that they should have the government pay for all their medical benefits? People are like, hell no.
That comes out of your taxes.
Comes out of your taxes. But if you say, you know what, somebody who's working here and contributing to the economy, and they don't have documents to prove they're here, but they're contributing to the economy. Do you think that it's fair that if they get terminally ill or really sick, that they should die in the street?
No,
Exactly.
Right.
Because
Because
to be
that's what this
clear-
is.
Of course.
Exactly.
And to be clear, the uninsured, whoever they are, put more strain on the Medicaid and Medicare systems than the insured
But-
do.
but-
because
Yes, but also,
they're going to go to emergency rooms.
but also, it's just the way that they phrase it.
Right.
And
course.
turns people off. It's like this goes back to the same thing. Are you in favor of the death tax, or are you in favor of people who die who are worth over $10 million from sending all of their money to their relatives tax-free?
Right.
Okay, it depends on how you phrase it. All right, because I'm not in favor of people who have over $10 million giving all of their money tax-free to their relatives while everybody else is suffering.
Right. No,
I'm not in favor of that.
No, you're right.
Okay, but if you sell somebody, are you in favor of getting taxed when you die? No, I'm not in favor of getting taxed when you die. So it all depends on how you phrase everything. Meanwhile, this I just found out 2 minutes before our show. Joe was showing me.
Okay.
Okay, the woman on American Airlines, Jamaican lady.
Yes.
I didn't know about this. Yonathan, did you know about this?
I
Kim
didn't.
knew about it.
I did not.
Yonathan didn't know about it.
I have some
I
things to
bet
say.
you some of our Brad Squad knows about this. American Airlines, they apologized to a Texas doctor. She was boarding from Kingston, Jamaica, Dr. Tisha Rowe. She may be Jamaican American, or maybe she was just in Jamaica, or maybe
She's
just
just
American.
American,
She
yeah.
was traveling to Jamaica. I don't know. But either way, she was en route from Kingston, Jamaica to Houston when a flight attendant told her to cover up because she was showing too much skin. And I said to Jill, what? What is she showing?
What? Right.
What is she showing?
That is a romper.
I don't know. She was traveling with her 8-year-old son on June 30th when she was asked to step off the plane because of what. Now I want you to go on Kim. Kim is showing more skin than that woman.
That's true, I am.
All right, now go back to the picture of that woman.
You got a strap right here.
Go back to the picture of that woman. I think skin is showing. Well, nope. You have a strap.
I've got a slight strap.
That's about it.
I do have a strap.
Okay. So once off the plane, she was told to cover up or she would not be allowed back on the plane.
Wow.
Now, after failing to change the crew's mind, she asked for a blanket, wrapped it around herself, and then walked down the plane's aisle to her seat. Now, American Airlines rules state only passengers must dress appropriately, and bare feet or offensive clothing aren't allowed. There's nothing offensive. There's absolutely, and I will tell you, I like to play devil's advocate. There was absolutely nothing offensive about that whatsoever.
I'm gonna tell you, this is the problem I have with that. And there has been a lot of situations like this. There were a couple of African American teachers, elementary school teachers, that were wearing fitted clothing, and they said the same thing. But if you put it on, I'm not calling all white bodies the same, but if you put it on another white girl who has flat chest or a flat butt, it looks a lot less revealing. It's really because of her curves.
And she's a medical doctor.
Right.
Okay. That doesn't matter. She could be a street sweeper for all it matters. But she's a professional woman.
Right.
Okay.
It's only because of her curves.
And now she says she agrees with you, Yonathan.
Yeah. She said that?
Yeah. She says if I, being Letitia Rowe, was a white woman in that same bodysuit.
Yes.
If they thought it was inappropriate, do I think they would have removed that white woman from the plane? Absolutely not. Now, American Airlines has apologized. In the statement, they said, we were concerned about Dr. Rowe's comments and reached out to her and our team at the Kingston airport to gather more information about what occurred. We apologize to Dr. Rowe and her son for their experience and have fully refunded their travel.
And I do want to say real quick, because I see March Higgs is asking, what's my point? My point is that the only reason why she has been taken off that plane is because she is black with curves. And if she was a white woman with that same jumpsuit, they would not have looked twice or thought twice for doing it.
I disagree that it's the with curves part, because if
It
I
is.
had,
When you're with curves-
if I had walked onto that airplane wearing that exact same romper as a white woman with those same kind of curves, they would have never said a word.
Baby girl, I said because she was black with curves.
Yeah, but she could have been a black, I think it was because she was a black woman.
No, I don't think so.
If she was black and she was black and she was like skinny, flat.
Right.
Yes,
right.
Because I'm telling you, this same situation has been happening with black women teachers and at schools, and it's because they have these amazing curves, and any clothes on them is going to look very fitted, And if they were of some whatever race without curves, then they wouldn't take them out. So I'm saying that it's not right. But that's the main reason why I think
we
that's
all
the reason.
agree.
Right.
White woman wouldn't have happened to.
No.
Never.
Black woman, I agree with that as well.
Yes.
And it was funny because I didn't even hear this story until 2 minutes before we got on the air because Jill was sharing with me the news. And I said, show me this picture, Jill. And you even heard me. I said, what is she wearing wrong?
Yeah.
I don't know what she was wearing wrong. Jill's like, I know.
There's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
There was nothing.
I said, what is it?
And the thing that pisses me off is she can't help that. What is she supposed to do?
Right.
This is her God-given body.
I want you to know something. I have a girlfriend who I have been on the plane with who has worn more revealing things than that, and nobody said a word.
Not a word.
She's white.
And they
Exactly.
would, of course.
I am
That's what
telling
I'm
you,
saying.
has shown twice as much skin as that.
Absolutely.
And nobody has said a
But
word.
if she was black with that same body frame, I guarantee you, they would say something.
But
Very possible.
You don't think they'd say anything to a black skinny woman?
No.
I feel like they would.
No.
I feel like they would.
Look up all those cases with the black teachers, black women teachers, and
I know
at the
exactly
schools.
what you're talking about.
Look at their body
Yeah,
types.
yeah.
I guarantee you, they would not say that, and it's
But
so
they wouldn't
unfortunate.
have said it to a white woman
No, not at all.
with a
with
similar
curves.
with curves.
They
with
would
curves,
not.
never.
I have to say, Belgium Kim, I agree with you a lot, but this time I'm agreeing with Yonathan.
Okay.
I kind of agree. I think a skinny,
I know,
flat-chested,
skinny,
no
Those are
curvy.
models.
Right,
Like
models are not going to say anything.
No, skinny black models, they're definitely not saying anything to.
But
That's very possible.
meanwhile, you know about Storm Area 51?
Yeah.
Did you hear about this, Storm Area 51? You know about Area 51?
I have heard of this, yes.
Jonathan, you know what Area 51 is?
Yes.
That's where the aliens are.
Yes.
Okay, so now people are fed up. 60, 70 years since the aliens landed, and they're
Right.
being held behind some locked door in some liquid gel.
It's blue.
In blue
It's
gel.
definitely blue
Okay,
liquid
in
gel.
blue liquid gel. The aliens are there in Area 51. No one's allowed in. And Facebook is fed up, Yonathan. They want to see E.T. So somebody on Facebook came up with the idea that they, quote, can't stop us all, and have been urging people to sign up on Facebook to storm Area 51.
Wow.
They
Yo.
can't shoot us all. All right,
Shady.
and they have over 1 million people have signed up on
What?
Facebook to storm Area 51 to see what the hell is behind those barbed wires there.
That is
We
hilarious.
want E.T. It's about time. So the invitation reads, Yonathan, we will all meet up at the Area 51 Alien Center tourist attraction and coordinate our entry. We can move faster than their bullets. Let's see them aliens.
Y'all,
can't.
faster than their bullets, though.
Now, at Area Memes 51 shared a training compilation as how to save the aliens. That was the training. That was
alien rescue training
training. The United States Air Force. I do have a comment from them.
From the United
From the
States
United States
Air
Air
Force.
Force. They said Area 51 is an open training range for the U.S. Air Force, and we would discourage anyone from trying to come in to the area where we train American armed forces. The U.S. Air Force always stands ready to protect America and its assets. What do they mean by what does that mean?
Assets.
What do they mean by assets? You mean the aliens behind Area 51?
Exactly. Do you guys have a bunch of asset lindos back there we
I
don't
don't
know
know.
about?
All right, I have a couple more things. We're going to get to all our immigrant. This show's going to go 2.5 hours today, Jonathan. I hope you don't have dinner
Why
plans.
do you always say Yonathan?
Yeah, because he doesn't have to pay Kim anymore.
Jonathan's by the hour here. So.
That is the difference.
Go on then. If I buy an hour.
Jonathan's like, taxi me this running.
Writing.
July 15th.
There's just so much to cover here, Yonathan.
is.
All right, one of the wackiest news articles I ever read in my entire life. The Liberty Police in Clay County, Missouri, they put out a tweet that said that if you are a robber and you are hiding, you shouldn't be farting. Yep.
What?
Yes. According to the Clay County Sheriff's Office over the weekend, the Liberty Police were searching for a person with a felony arrest warrant wanted for possession of a controlled substance. The suspect hid to avoid the police, but apparently got so scared he let out a loud fart, which gave up his hiding spot. The cops were quick to pat themselves on the back, saying, "We've got to give props to Liberty Police Department for using all of their senses
I can't.
to sniff out the
Not
perp.
to sniff out.
To sniff out the perp." Can you imagine you're hiding and you got away with it because they couldn't find you, and then you just let out a fart?
That's
Should have
like
had some
a
Beano,
movie.
man. Should have had some Beano.
I mean, what?
That's like in a movie.
Yeah, I mean that's in a Dwayne the Rock movie, like
Right.
you know, like with Kevin Hart, you know,
Right.
like Kevin Hart's like Kevin Hart like gives out the fart. He's like, I
Right.
can't believe you just did that.
And it's a tiny little like.
Exactly. It's like I'm expecting like what Jill said. I'm expecting that to see that in Stuber.
Yeah,
Oh,
and that is a Stuber. Yeah, that's a Stuber moment.
Did you hear about the Long Island bagel shop guy who went crazy?
No.
Okay, so apparently he went into the bagel store and he was angry.
Oh,
He was really angry because he's not doing very well on Tinder. Okay, let's
my
watch what he has to say because he's so angry for not doing well on Tinder.
Why
Let's
is it
watch
okay for women to say, oh, you're 5 feet on dating sites? You should be dead? That's okay? Go ahead and attack me, big.
So apparently he was really angry because he keeps getting shut out of the dating world on Tinder because when they ask him how tall he is, he says he's 5 feet and nobody wants to go out with him. So the poor guy was really angry. He went for a bagel and he got into a fight with a guy who was like 3 times the size of him and just tackled him. And he says, why is it okay for women to say you're 5 feet on dating sites? You should be dead. Meanwhile, the guy who tackled him is now pressing criminal charges against him. The 5-foot angry guy is pressing criminal charges against him.
Against the guy who tackled him?
And in a surprise turn of events, since this has gone viral, he now says he's getting a lot of dates.
Of
What
course.
a loser
Absolutely.
moron.
Yeah.
You are a
Absolutely.
liar and a loser,
Okay.
and there is no way any self-respecting woman would dare be with you, and it has nothing to do with your terrible height.
Maybe
sure
it
he
has
does
nothing to
have
do with
dates
maybe it has
now.
nothing to do with that he's 5 feet.
Yeah, he's
It's
just a horrible
possible-
human.
It's possible that it also has something to do with that he lives out of the back of a van.
Oh man, what a winner!
All right,
What
so
ladies.
I don't know if it's his 5 feet tall or he lives out of the back of a van.
God.
The man lives in a van.
I feel
Maybe
bad.
if he got
I feel
an apartment
bad
and not a van.
Wait, but do
I
you
feel
remember?
bad.
Do you remember that guy that lived in his van that we talked about? That was like saving all that money on his rent, and he had turned his whole van into kind of a nice apartment in the city.
Yeah,
Remember
and that was in San Francisco,
Yeah.
right? He was parking. That was about a year ago. Thanks for watching. For more Bradshaw Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.